Hey guys, it's Saria. Today I'm going to show you how to make these awesome corkboard ears. I got the idea to make these after seeing a few examples on Pinterest, but there really wasn't anything showing me how to make them, where to get the cork and all that. So I found a really easy way to make these. These are by far the easiest ears I've made so far in my DIY Mickey Ears series. This is video number 4. If you haven't checked out the other ones, I'll put them in the description blocks? No, that's not a thing. I'll put them in the description box below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I make videos like this every Tuesday and Thursday, and without further ado, let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so for these ears, what you're going to need is a 1-inch headband, hot glue sticks, a trim or a ribbon. This is what mine looks like close up, a hot glue gun, 6 cork coasters. I got mine at Hobby Lobby and they're in the description box below. The ear sewing line template, also in the description box below. Fabric for your bow. I actually decided to go with felt because I really wanted to show you guys this in a tutorial. You also need an X-Acto knife and something to write with. So you're going to start out with just 1 cork coaster. 3 of them will make up the ear, but I'm going to show you 2 different ways of cutting it. So the first way is just to take a single one, lay down the ear sewing line template, take your marker, and then you're going to mark the edge of that line. That's where the headband's going to fit into. Then I decided to lay down something to cut into, so I took my X-Acto knife and then I went ahead and cut just above the line that I marked. And I've just got a foam poster board underneath so that I'm not cutting into the table. Then I made sure that it lined up well on my headband, and now I'm going to take the second one and use that as my template. Take my marker and go ahead and mark that line again. Take my X-Acto knife and cut out that chunk. And then I repeat this step on the 3rd coaster for this ear. Okay, so now that I have all 3 coasters cut and they all line up, I'm going to take my hot glue gun and line the edge of the ear all the way around. This is just on that first coaster. And then you're going to take the 2nd coaster and press it down onto the first one. Make sure that your edges line up really well and wipe off any excess hot glue that might come out. Press it together, make sure it's very firmly adhered. And then you're going to repeat this step for the 3rd coaster. Make sure you get that bottom part. I accidentally forgot. And then press, make sure it's connected really well. Pull off any hot glue strings. And then you're going to repeat all these steps. So this time I'm going to show you a different way of doing this. So I already cut the first one using the ear sewing line template, but now I'm going to actually glue the 2 ears together. Or I'm so sorry, the 2 coasters together. And then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm just going to cut. I wanted to see if this gave me a more precise line. I honestly didn't really notice a difference. If anything, I think I prefer the first method that I showed. So now I'm lining the 2 ears up on my headband and trying to get the spacing right. I always like to use another pair of ears just to check, but if you don't have another pair of ears, that's totally okay. Just measure for about 2.5 inches in the middle between the 2 ears and make sure that you have that centered really well. So now I take my marker and I put a little tiny dot where the first ear should end. Apply hot glue to the bottom of the ear. Be very generous with this. And then I press the ear firmly down onto the headband. And now I'm going to line it back up and do the same thing with the other ear. Because I wanted to make sure they were exact, I went ahead and measured one side of the headband and then the second side and put a little mark there. So same thing, a liberal amount of hot glue and press down firmly. So now I'm going to go in and add on the trim to the ear. Because there's 3 coasters, it's really nice because you have a perfectly centered guideline for where to put your hot glue. So on that 2nd coaster that's in the middle, apply a line of hot glue and then press down your trim. And then trim off the excess after you've got it all measured out. And now you're going to go ahead and line the front of the ear on the bottom where it connects to the headband. This helps cover up any glue that came out, and it just makes it look a little bit more nice and finished. So I'm putting a very thin line of hot glue on the bottom and curving with the shape of the headband. And then I'm pressing down my trim onto it, and I'm just going to trim off the extra. Okay, and this is what it looks like when you're all finished with the trim on the front, and then you continue onto the back and do the exact same thing. So now we're going to move on to the bow. So felt bows are by far the easiest. I love doing them. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my felt into a rectangular shape, and then I crunch it to give it that bow shape, and I'm going to check the sizing. Right now I feel like it's a little bit too big, so I'm going to trim off some more, reshape it, and check it again. And this time I feel like it's just a little bit too tall, so I'm going to actually trim a little bit more off the bottom, crunch it again, and check the sizing. So now that I'm happy with it, I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and in that crunched middle, I'm just going to put 2 drops of hot glue and press my bow together to give it its shape, and then I take a thin strip of felt and wrap it around the center of the bow. I only wrapped mine once. I thought that was more than enough to keep it secure for felt. And after you've secured the bow and the middle part, you can go ahead and attach it to your headband. So apply a good amount of hot glue on the bottom and press it down firmly in the center of your headband. After you've applied your bow, you can pull out all of your favorite pins and display them beautifully on your ears. The best part about using such thick coasters is that the sharp part of the pin doesn't go all the way through, but it's really secure and stays on. That's it for this tutorial. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.